What's up? How's everybody doing? I wasn't going to do a video today, but there's been enough Dragon Ball news lately, I felt like I wanted to talk about it. So, I'm not going to waste anybody's time, I'm just going to jump right into it. First of all, the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that Dragon Ball is going to be at Jump Festa this year, and more interestingly, it's going to be taking center stage. You know, it's going to be on Red Stage? Yeah, it's going to be on Red Stage. And I think the last time Dragon Ball took center stage like this, Red Stage, I think it was back when Broly got announced. I could be wrong. Let me double check that. So yeah, I think the last time they did something big at Jump Festa like this was like 2017 when they announced Dragon Ball Super Broly. So in terms of what it is they're going to be talking about or what they might reveal, it's anybody's guess, because to the extent of my knowledge, and I've been trying to look into it, there's just not enough to go on to confirm or say it's one thing or over another. But like I said, the last time they did something this big was when they announced Broly. So could we get another movie announcement? Sure, it's possible. I've heard that rumor, but I wouldn't put a lot of stock into that. Because as of now, it's just rumors. Nothing's been confirmed. I know a lot of people are hoping an announcement that the Dragon Ball Super anime is going to return. I think that's even less likely than a new movie, to be honest. I don't think we're going to see the anime return for a while. This does raise the question as to whether or not the rights dispute has been resolved, because we haven't heard anything else about that. You know, I assumed it would be going on for a while, but I wonder if this means the dispute's been resolved. Of course, I'd say the safest bet is probably like a trailer for the next manga arc for the Dragon Ball Super manga. That's probably the safest bet. In terms of likelihood of what they're going to be doing at Jump Festa, I'd say it's a announcement for new manga arc, maybe a date for when it's going to continue, then a movie announcement, then, you know, the very distant possibility that the anime is going to return, because I really, really, really don't think that's going to be the case. And we know it shouldn't be anything related to Daima, because this is going to happen after Daima's already started airing and will be well into its run by then. So this shouldn't have anything to do with Dragon Ball Daima. Additionally, as other creators and people on Twitter have pointed out, Toyotaro is now being referred to as the sole creator of Dragon Ball Super and the main creator going forward. Now that Akira Toriyama is no longer with us, Toyotaro is going to be taking that torch and sort of carrying it onward, which, I mean, is, you know, good for him, but it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. I have faith in Toyotaro because Toriyama had faith in Toyotaro. So I do think he will do right, or at the very least, he will do his best to do right by Toriyama and by the Dragon Ball name going forward. I think he's going to do his absolute best and put his best foot forward when creating new content for the manga. Hopefully the rights dispute has been resolved, and hopefully this is why, you know, we're about to start getting a whole lot of news. It's been an interesting year for Dragon Ball. I think, it was this year they announced that they're going to be making a theme park in Saudi Arabia. We're getting Daima in October. We're getting Sparking Zero in October. The new Project Multi game is still currently in beta at this time. Unfortunately, we lost Toriyama. Toyotaro is now being referred to as the sole creator. We've had the rights dispute between Capsule Corp Tokyo and Shueisha. And now Dragon Ball is going to be at Jump Festa with hopefully some really big news. So it's been a big, albeit not all good year for Dragon Ball, but it's been a big year. A lot has happened, both good and bad. And I'd say that, you know, I think Dragon Ball's in a decent... I'm not going to say it's in a good place, because while we are getting a lot of content, there's a lot of question marks, and there's a lot up in the air about Dragon Ball right now. So I'm not going to say it's in a good place, but I will say it's primed to take off like never before. That's what I get from all this, is that Dragon Ball is in a position where it is primed and ready to take off and soar to heights never before seen. Dragon Ball at this point is a multi-generational IP. It's a multi-generational franchise, much like Star Wars. The only difference is, we haven't been flooded with Dragon Ball content like we have with Star Wars. So the urgency and the desire for more is still there. If the rumors of a movie are true, I have no idea what on earth the movie could be about. And I don't really want to guess, because I would have never guessed, before Superhero came out, I would have never guessed that that's what it was going to be. That it was going to be Cell Max, Gohan and Piccolo getting new forms. None of that would have even entered my mind, before Superhero was officially announced and we got details about it. So I don't really want to guess on what it's going to be about. Some people are saying that they think the Moro arc is going to get adapted into a movie. I don't think you can do justice to the Moro arc in a movie. Maybe a trilogy of movies you could, but not in one. But I will say that it would make sense. I can't say it wouldn't make sense, because look at it this way. Let's say that the manga is going to return, and they're finally, let's just spitball ideas. None of this has been rumored or hinted or anything like that. Let's just spitball some ideas. Let's say the manga returns, and let's say Toyotaro is finally going to push past the end of Z. Great. Everybody's been begging for that anyways. We're finally going to move past the end of Z. Let's just say that happens, hypothetically. Then it would make sense to try and adapt the Moro arc and the Granola arc into movies, rather than bring the Dragon Ball Super anime back. The reason for this is because Superhero takes place after the Granola arc. With that being the case, bringing back the Dragon Ball Super anime only to adapt two arcs that happened before the movie that is already out and has been out for a while now, it just seems kind of weird, doesn't it? So to me, it makes more sense to adapt those into movies and let Toyotaro start working on the manga past the end of Z and bring back a new series that will carry on after the end of Z and finally serve as a true sequel to Dragon Ball Z. Obviously, there's GT, but canon, non-canon, we could talk about that crap all day. GT's its own timeline. It's separate. It's a separate continuity from Super. Everybody knows this. So, but it is also a sequel to Z. If, it's just a separate continuity sequel. But if Toyotaro is going to push past the end of Z, which I very, very much hope he does, then we would get, a true, I hate saying this, quote unquote canon sequel to Dragon Ball Z. Of course, whether someone views it as canon or not is completely irrelevant. Canon, at the end of the day, is ultimately what you make of it. It's all fiction. None of it really happened anyways. Just enjoy what you enjoy. So to me, it does make sense to adapt them into movies. I just don't think that Moro can be done justice in movie form. Animation-wise, budget-wise, 100%. The Moro arc adapted with a movie budget would look phenomenal. It would look amazing. I just don't know if they could cram the entire arc into a movie. That's why I said a trilogy of movies, or at the very least 2 movies. The Granola arc, they actually might be able to squeeze into a movie. 2 at the most would be all they would need to do the Granola arc, because that arc had a bit of a tendency to drag in some places where they could kind of truncate the story just a little bit. However, adapting those into movies would come with their own challenges or, sort of hiccups or caveats. And that is that if you adapt those into movies, then you're right back where you started when Super ended, and that's that you have no manga content to adapt, should you want to bring the anime back. Which would mean the anime would have to take even longer to come back, because if we did Moro and Granola in movie format, then unless they wanted to do the early Dragon Ball Super approach and do re-adaptations into the anime, like they did with Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, then, they could do the same with Superhero, readapt it into the anime and extend it and get all the like Teen Goten and Trunk stuff. Unless they want to do that, they wouldn't have any manga content to adapt until Toyotaro got far enough in whatever this next stuff's going to be. Which would take a while because, you know, the Dragon Ball Super manga is monthly. So it's not without its problems if they go the movie approach. The Dragon Ball Super anime was, of course, ahead of the manga. You know, so that was a different case. The manga was kind of playing catch up to the anime. But it would seem that with Toriyama gone, they probably want something to adapt. You know, they're not going to have Toriyama submitting those guidelines, those sort of plot points on how he wants the story to go. It's going to be Toyotaro now. So things are probably going to work differently. Additionally, one way they can mitigate any of the issues or difficulties there may be with not having enough content to adapt into an anime for a long-form, ongoing weekly anime is if they simply take the modern anime approach and make Dragon Ball seasonal, which I think all anime should do from now on. Take the seasonal approach. Adapt the Moro arc into one season. Take a break. Then do Granola. Or do both of them and take a break until Toyotaro gets the manga further ahead. If they made Dragon Ball seasonal, it kind of mitigates all of those issues. It takes care of all of those problems if they just make it seasonal, which I am a big supporter of. I think they should do that. But let me know, what you think of all this news. What do you think is going to get announced at Jump Festa? Do you think it's going to be just a new manga arc? Do you think they're just going to announce the return of the manga? Do you think it's going to be a new movie, as has been rumored, though not confirmed? Or are you one of the hopeful and optimistic few who think they're going to announce the return of the anime, which I think is very unlikely? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more Dragon Ball and anime content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.